Sayat-Nova was traveling from court to court telling stories, and Sayat-Nova was later in his life, he spent some years in monastery when he wrote these stories that he'd seen, he heard into actual stories and music, both in Armenian language and in musical language, like is in the notes. And Parajanov was invited to make a film about him, and initially he thought of 15 manuscripts. If in Kiev frescoes he thinks with frescoes, in Sayat-Nova he thinks with manuscripts. And he thinks, okay, I'm going to have 15 manuscript as a frame. So again, static visual art form comes to moving image. And then the story was supposed to tell the biography of Sayat-Nova. However, when Parajanov made the film, using some elements that you can recognize from Kiev frescoes or from his collages, like the shells, etc. Again, he was thinking in collage form for the storyboards. When Parajanov makes the film, and the film is ready, it's shown first to the Armenian authorities, then it's sent to Moscow for the Moscow authorities to confirm or to sign it that yes, it can be released. Everyone is shocked because this is not what he, again and again, an artist who was commissioned to do one thing makes completely another thing. He brings his up. He invites other artists like Tigran Mansourian, who writes music for this film, mixing Armenian Orthodox church chanting with contemporary avant-garde music and compositions. He uses this, again, you recognize the white cube situation, and he mixes white cube with filming in mountains, with filming inside the monasteries. He talks to the Armenian governmental authorities and church authorities to be that they would allow him to use, instead of making props, he use religious objects in the films. Everything is supposed to be, everything is this abundance of ideas and abundance of materials that he brings together, but it is perceived differently. It is perceived differently by the authorities, but they cannot tell no, because Soviets were very afraid of small, as they were saying, national republics becoming independent. They were very afraid of any separatistic thinking. And they said, okay, this film can be seen in Armenia only. And the film gets the lowest category the film can get. So no international distribution, no within the states distribution, just in Armenia. And moreover, they invite another director, who is actually a good director, Sergei, to work the film a bit more, to work the material that was shot there, to change the narration a bit. In Parajanov's narrating, there was also linearity in the way that, yes, the poet is born in the family of weavers, the poet gets educated, the poet travels from court to court, he meets Princess Anna, he gets in love, she's not answering, the poet is devastated, he goes to the monastery. After the years in monastery, he decides to get back to music and singing, and he leaves the monastery and he dies in a war battle. That was present in Parajanov's film as well, in Parajanov's cut as well. But however, when they invited the Russian director to rework the film, what was added to the film was some kind of, you will not see it here, because this is fragments from the original film. He added some kind of tableaus where you see, like, first of all in Russian, there is a text explaining what will happen in the next frame, basically. So all these 15 frames that Parajanov was thinking, these 15 miniatures, actually were interrupted with a text saying what the poet was actually feeling, or what is going to happen. And Yudkevich's cut is something that, this is not it, the text is not from that cut. Yudkevich's cut is something that exists now. It's also a question, how do you treat that film? There are many questions about it. Some people prefer to ignore it, some people prefer to acknowledge it, some people, it's the same, like what happens to the artwork when the artist is no longer alive? And what happens, yes, to Parajanov's legacy. But one thing that is important is, we're going back to this person, Daniel Bird, who actually, when researching Parajanov's work and in the process of digitizing his films, in order then to be shown in contemporary cinemas, because we no longer use the film rolls, he found cutouts from this film. They were cutouts done by Parajanov himself. There were cutouts done by Yutkevich. There were just cutouts in 33 cans, film cans, that were showing. We have included them in this exhibition, and you can see them on the other side of this wall. And you can see that they're different. They're not different in terms of the what is happening on the screen, but they're different in terms of material. They're different in terms of textures, etc. Because one is analog and other is digitized. But in these cutouts, you can see again the thinking process of the artist. You can see that, okay, Parajanov is experimenting again and again with the colors. He doesn't know if he wants to use, for certain scenes, he doesn't know if he wants to use this person or another person. For instance, far away from here, you see a scene with a little Sayat Nova hanging with the wings at the church. There was another actor also, whom he tested for little Sayat Nova. But we know it only because of the cutouts, because they were found in the archives of Armenian Cinema Center. And this is incredible that Parajanov's work is not finished actually. It's not researched enough. It is well researched, but not researched enough. You know, it is well known, but not translated to as many languages as possible. There were many people who knew him throughout his life and who are still alive, like Sabina, who is going to speak in a few minutes, like Mikhail, who came a few weeks ago with photos that he took of Parajanov when they met in Georgia. There are so many people who are still alive, and it would be wonderful to learn more about their experiences and to know what they knew. And we're not finishing here. We're finishing in another room with. How is she? By the way, Mikhail that I just mentioned is sitting here. Yes. So we're finishing here in this corner with Parajanov's quote. And I find this quote important because it is taken from his last film that he died when shooting it. It's called Confession, and the film tells, the script was actually written in the 60s, but he had the opportunity to start making that film Confession, and it was finished after his life by another person, and it's available on the internet if you want to watch. But it's a story of how Parajanov remembers Tbilisi of his childhood, and how Tbilisi, Georgia, changes throughout his lifetime, and how he grieves about these changes that happen to the city, that happens to the memory of people who lived in that city. And this is a quote from that film, and I would like ask anyone Swedish speaking to read it. This is how we traditionally end these tours. But to me, it's placed exactly, not facing, but exactly in the same parallel line as the collage that is called I Sold My Summer House. And that balcony in that summer house, that was a place for gathering, a place for people to meet, a place for people to talk, to create, to improvise, and a place where, yes, this creative energy the same balcony here, photos of Yuri Mechitov, Zaven Sargsyan, and Mikhail also has other photos of Parajanov with him. You're welcome to ask him to show them to you. The same balcony is a metaphor for all these wooden structures in this exhibition. And yeah, if anyone Swedish speaking can read it, that would be fantastic. So I don't butcher.
I can read it
Yeah,
out
thank
loud.
you so much.
Mitt misstag är väl kanske att jag föddes. Sen såg jag molnen, min vackra mor, bergen, en katedral, regnbågens färger. Allt detta från barndomens balkong. Och för allt detta måste man betala.
Thank you very much. We will now go to have our conversation with Jakob, with Sabina, and with text that Ulf sent to us because he couldn't join us, and have some coffee and sit.